We have just passed the 200-day mark of Putin's war on Ukraine, and despite Kyiv's recent successes fighting back against the invader, there is no real end in sight. I wanted to hear President Clinton's take on the war and how events 30 years ago might have started it all in motion.
Let me ask you about Russia and the war in Ukraine. You know, there are a lot of people who argue that it's all your fault, that the reason that Russia has invaded Ukraine is that the United States, by expanding NATO, provoked that. The largest or most significant expansion of NATO took place on your watch. What do you say to them?
You're wrong. And here's why. When I did what I did, I offered Russia not only a special partnership with NATO, but the prospect of eventual membership in NATO, arguing that our biggest security problems in the future were going to come from non-state actors or from authoritarian states selling chemical, biological, and nuclear capacity to terrorist groups. And a lot of that happened. And that we should do this together. But I looked at him and I said, you know, do you really believe I would use an air base in Poland to bomb Russia? And he said no, but a lot of little old ladies in Western Russia do, because their historic memory includes Hitler and their grandparents' memories included Napoleon. I said, okay, I concede that. But our historic memory includes the notion that your greatest days were under Ivan, Peter the Great, and Catherine the Great. In other words, when you could control your neighbors. And people don't want to be controlled anymore. They want to be free to chart their own course. I'll never forget the first time a man with impeccable military credentials, the warden of Rhodes House, who was Admiral Viscount Montgomery's aide de camp in World War II, said, you know, you're going to have to leave Vietnam for the same reason we had to leave Nigeria. We left Nigeria. There was a horrible war. 3 million people died. But we had to go, and you're going to have to go. And I said, why? He said, because they don't want you. You know, people want to chart their own course. They have to feel secure in their own identities. Then they have to have the courage to work with others. And this is not easy psychologically, and there are dueling historical narratives. But to go back to your original case, I am more convinced today than I was then that we did the right thing. When President Putin made no secret of the fact that he thought the dissolution of the Soviet Union was a great tragedy in world history, he made no secret of the fact that he thought President Khrushchev or Premier Khrushchev had done a terrible, terrible job in giving Crimea to Ukraine, and that he only did it as a gift, assuming Ukraine would be always part of the Soviet Union. So, and I remember talking to him about this. I said, I got a deal with Russia to respect the territorial integrity of Ukraine. And I got the British to go along and NATO to go along, and we all signed the deal. He said, yes, you did. But he said, you also never got it confirmed in the parliament because, they did. They had all these nationalists there. He said, you never got it confirmed in the parliament, and therefore I'm not bound by it, and I don't agree with it. I mean, I don't see how we could be surprised by all this. But I think the fact that the Ukrainians are willing to stand up is encouraging. And who's providing a lot of those weapons and training? NATO. And what does Finland want to do? Join NATO. So I'm sorry, I just disagree. I think we did the right thing at the right time. And if we hadn't have done it, this crisis might have occurred even sooner. But you can't tell people, you're supposed to tell the Poles they should live for the rest of eternity with the insecurity that Russia won't try to come after them again. or the Hungarians, or the, you know, all the others, the Baltic states. Really, after what they did they ever want to be in the Soviet Union? And the Czech Republic, of course, was the most democratic of all and the best managed from the fall of the Cold War for the next 10 years. The fall of the Berlin Wall for the next 10 years.